Our spotlight today is Emily Taylor. Emily works with owner-led businesses, mostly professional service firms and skilled trade companies, to turn the business into something that doesn't need them to run day to day. She's built her own live process mapping tool that turns a conversation into a flowchart in real time. And unlike a lot of operation consultants who hand you a plan and walk away, Emily stays and builds the system herself. She's based in Mexico City, works with clients anywhere, and today she's going to walk us through how she does it. So, Emily, first question. You describe your work as turning a business into a transferable asset. What does that actually look like in practice, and what's the first sign an owner is too baked into their own company?
For sure. For most business owners, our 80 to 90% of our wealth is tied up in our business. And so if we want to grow that wealth and if we want to cash it in someday by exiting our business in one way or another, the business needs to be an actual asset that can be run by a person that is not us. So the great litmus test to use is going on vacation or even imagining going on vacation and not taking your laptop with you. What would happen to the business? Is it still going to run as smoothly as it runs when you are present? And if the answer is no, we need to figure out why and how to fix that. Because if our business depends on our presence and our stamina, then it is not going to be able to grow past our own ability to keep everything running. And it's going to be very, very difficult to sell. And even if we're not thinking about selling right now, we want this to be our life's work. We want to retire here. We want it to fund our retirement, for one thing. But we don't always get to choose. Sometimes life happens and we have to step away from a business, and we want it to be ready to be able to be handed over to another person and get actual value from it.
So part of your process is trying to understand everything that a
Mhm.
business has and how then you can help them restructure. I know one of the sessions that you have is called the all hats session. Can you walk us through that? And once you know everything an owner is doing, how do you decide what to systematize first?
Yeah, the first thing I do with any client is called an all the hats blueprint. And we use the tool that I created that creates flowcharts live on a call. We'll get to look at in a second to get everything out of the owner's brain about what they are doing. So I want to know all the jobs, all the way they're involved, all their roles, all the hats that they are wearing. And once we get them out all into a visible format, we're looking for the way to put them in order to take those hats off in a way that will protect revenue. So the first thing that I want to do with them is the smallest possible step forward that's going to get them out of one of their roles and is going to free up more time and energy and brain space in their life to be able to keep working down that list. So I try to find the smallest thing. It may be such so small as just a 2-week project where they can automate something, delegate something, or train the team to do something that they're currently doing so that they can get that hat off their head. And of course, I'm going to be doing that building so that they aren't adding extra things to their plate.
Great. A lot of operation consultants stop at a plan.
Mhm.
You implement the tools yourself. Why does that distinction matter, especially for owners who are thinking about an eventual exit?
I have always been an owner operator. I started my first business at 24, a couple years out of college. All my friends, all my contacts are all small business owner operators. I've never met a business owner that has the time to figure out how to implement a software. And so a lot of times strategy is what we know we need, but then strategy fails because all of the actual work of building the steps to get to that thing, um, all that work lands on the owner's plate. And the owner's plate is already full. If you are worried about your business not being a transferable asset because the whole thing depends on you, you don't have more room on your plate to add more work. So somebody has to actually get that work done so that you can get traction and move forward.
So moving forward, some of the things a lot of people do is, use a business broker to get to, the end and sell their business. And you work with those business brokers. What's the
Mhm.
moment that usually triggers a referral to you when a broker realizes the business isn't actually sellable yet?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's usually a really heartbreaking conversation with a business broker or possibly with a SEPA, some sort of exit planner or financial planner, when the business owner realizes that their life's work, possibly, or at least decades of work, is not sellable. It can't be transferred easily to another person, and it's going to be very, very difficult to sell. And that is a really heartbreaking situation for a business owner to be in. The sooner we do this work, the better, because that helps build and protect that business value before we get to the finish line of the business. But that's usually what the situation is. They see the finish line and they expect to be able to get money out of a business that is going to be really hard to get money out of it.
I can imagine those conversations are pretty hard to have.
It's hard. It's terrible. I hate that that happens. I hate that that exists. I don't feel like that is an acceptable outcome for a business owner who's put decades of their life into a business.
Yeah. So I know that we don't necessarily have any business brokers in the audience here, but what are some ways that people can think about or listen for good referrals for you?
Yeah, any business owner that is owner operator, and if anybody in the call is talking with them and is realizing that they keep getting sucked back into operations or they're the only salesperson, they kind of are the brand. If the words I am the company pass out of someone's mouth, they need to talk to me. And kind of official referral partners are the SEPAs, exit planners, financial advisors, business brokers, business bankers. But any consultant that's working with a business owner that is too involved in the operations of their business, and that's limiting the ability to hit their strategic goals, that's somebody that'll be able to help.
Great. So when Emily and I first met, she walked me through this tool that she's about to demo. I was super
Yeah.
impressed with the tool that she was able to set up and how it was able to capture the details. But what was really impressive was we were able to talk about the details in the conversation. So the tool was super powerful and was able to deliver on what it was built to do. So with that, I'm going to have Emily kind of walk us through this so you can kind of see what that process looks like.
Definitely. So you should be seeing my screen. This is the tool that I built that allows us to create flowcharts of processes live on a call. And I'll go ahead and just show you a process of mine. So when a business owner is introduced to me, the first thing that we do after an introductory conversation is schedule a 90-minute all the hats assessment where we are getting everything that they think is going on in their business and how they think they're involved in their business out in the open so that we can actually visually see it. The result of that call is a list of every role that they are filling, every hat that they're wearing in their business, and we've put them in order that they should get those hats off their head. You have to do this in a certain order so that you're not over investing in something that you can't afford yet. So we want to take the hats off in such a way that we're protecting revenue and actually growing revenue while we build infrastructure. With their results, I will send a proposal for the very first hat, and we try to choose, like I mentioned, the shortest project possible that's going to make meaningful difference in their business. We will work through that, whatever it is. It may be building a dashboard, it may be creating some automation, doing some team training, whatever their business needs. And when we finish that project, we check back in with the list and we say, do we want to scope the next project or do we want to work as a retainer? And then we get to say, the next thing on the list is going to take this many months at this many dollars. We work through it and just keep going back to the list until we have built the infrastructure that the owner needs to not have to keep getting sucked back into the business. So I'll let this think for just a second. What we can expect here in about 20 seconds is a flowchart to appear of everything that I just explained. And this helps us, I think all of us as consultants know, discovery is terrible. It takes a long time, and we may or may not actually get results that our client totally agrees with because it takes such a long time typically to see those results. So let's just review the computer's work. We receive the intro, conduct a conversation. That's kind of a pre-sales section. Here we've got our all the hats, conduct the call. On the call, we are prioritizing, and then we're going to send that proposal. Upon acceptance, we will do the first project, and then we'll head back to that list and do the next model, which will either be scoping the next project or working as a retainer. Execute work in sequence, and we keep going until all the infrastructure is complete and they're able to have a business that is truly transferable, that does not depend on the owner's presence and stamina to function. What I would do now as a consultant with someone who's just told me this as one of the many, many processes that we go through in 90 minutes is look at this and start flagging bottlenecks and start flagging places that should be automated, could be automated, talk about their tech stack. What are we doing? What are we missing? I can tell you right here, we're working between about 3 different software tools. And there's some bottlenecks in here, even though it's my own process. Some things that as I grow, I will delegate, and I'm preparing to delegate those things. So I'm going to get in here and start color coding things, putting notes on. And at the end of the session, we will have something that may look like this with all the different roles and processes and the right way to work ourselves out of all of those jobs. And we don't have to scope or quote all of them at once. We go one at a time until the owner feels comfortable. And as the revenue grows, we're able to keep on working through more and more of these. So I'm very, very happy to have this tool. It's built by an owner for owners because owner brains are a lot, and we need to get that information out of our head and put it somewhere more useful so that we can make progress as fast as possible.
Well, great, Emily. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
being the spotlight today and showing us this tool. Is there any questions that anybody has? Feel free to raise your hand, your virtual hand or your physical hand. Keith.
No, thank you. This was a great presentation. Appreciate it, Emily. What's your ideal client size? Maybe revenue size or employee
Mhm.
wise? Just kind of get an idea.
Yeah, I usually work on the smaller end of SMB. So 1 to 1.5 million is definitely the lowest. Lower than that, it gets really difficult to pay for implementation at speed, and up to about 10 million.
Okay. Thank you. That makes
Mhm.
sense.
Ken.
Emily, thank you. This is a great presentation. You were kind enough to take me through it when we did a one-on-one.
Yeah. Mhm.
So my question is, and I know it's the hardest part, is how does the client, the owner, CEO, whatever you want to call them, actually implement the steps or the challenges that you bring up? Do you meet with them on Monday and set goals for the week, or touch base every month? How does that work?
They don't. They don't do it at all. I do
Oh,
it. Yeah, because they're not going to, right? Like I say this with love as a person who's owned small businesses for 13 years. It's not going to happen. We meet for an hour or so, usually once a week. Sometimes I need to talk with other people on their team. I do it. I build whatever the thing is that they need because their plates are full. That's the whole point. If their business depends on them, they're not going to be able to shove anything else on that plate. I take care of it.
okay. So let me do a follow-up then. How often, because you're a very linear thinker. I mean, it's step by step, black
Sure.
and white.
Mhm.
You may add some color into it. But my question is, what do you do when you run across an ADHD business owner who's running around like a crazy person? Or that, do you kind of accept that and try to work with them, or do you pass on the opportunity?
There is no business owner that is doing one thing at a time. And so you roll with it. I guide my projects with a little bit of a firm grip. We have to do certain things. You have to give me certain information or certain access in order to move forward. But I'm married to an entrepreneur as well. All we do is crazy business ideas all the time. So just rolling with crazy business is par for the course around here.
Okay, thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
All right, Lisa.
Comment and a question. So I went through the mapping process with
Mm-hmm.
Emily. It is the most helpful thing I have done in maybe the last decade. It looks simple. It's not simple. You think you could do it yourself. Maybe you could. I would not have done it by myself. So just putting that out there. And could you just recap for us who are good power partners? Who do you want folks to
Yeah.
introduce you to?
Thanks, Lisa. The exit planners, CEPAs, business brokers, business bankers, financial planners, if they are specifically focused on business owners, they're not just the guy who's selling life insurance or like whatever insurance. Those are really, really good for me. And consultants, like anybody on this call who has access to a business owner and has a trusting relationship with them, to say, hey, if you don't stop reinventing the wheel, we're all in trouble, my friend. Yes. I'll also mention something that Lisa said. So many business owners, we all want to do this on our own. And we all kind of like once a quarter are like, I'm going to write down everything in my brain dump. Great. First of all, stop lying to yourself. I also lie to myself once a quarter that I'm going to brain dump, and it often doesn't happen. But the real power is getting it organized in such a way that you can use it, and then actually having somebody to do the building and the actioning of the plan, which is super difficult for all of us to do for our own business.
Great, Emily. Thank you for your time. If anybody's
Thanks
got
so
referrals
much.
for her, make sure to pass those on to Emily and also log them in Noladex. And with that, I thank you, Emily.